The SRX races for the final time in the 2021 season, and we see the young Chase Elliott pick up the victory in his only start of the season here at Nashville Fairgrounds. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to another video. I just got done watching the SRX race from the Nashville Fairgrounds, and I have to say that the race overall was extremely solid. We're going to talk about the heats, we're going to talk about the championship battle as well, and we're also going to talk about the overall main event as well. And then at the end, we're going to talk about overall my thoughts on things that I thought were really good and things that definitely fixed going into the 2022 SRX season, because we're going to be having this next year. So let's go ahead and talk about the event. So starting off with heat number one pretty much went straightforward. He did have a couple of fun flags in it, but the race would basically be dominated by the Elliots of Bill Elliott and Chase. Bill Elliott brought a lot of speed into this event and arguably have one of the fastest cars in the first race. And coming off the corner, he would actually go out and win heat number one in the SRX event. Chase Elliott definitely gave a run for his money. Bobby Labonte also showed a lot of speed in the first heat, but really it would be Chase Elliott and Bill Elliott putting a show, but Bill Elliott would win heat number one in the event. Heat number two is definitely interesting because, like I said again, they had the inverse and had Willie T. Ribs and Michael Waltrip, who were on the front row early in the event. And they basically would lead a little bit, but Willie T. Ribs pretty much fell back. And then Helio Castroneves also ran really, really well at Lucas Oil Race Apart. He and Ernie Francis Jr. would be first and second in the second. He was pretty much dominated. Of course, he then, again, had the fun vibes. It was also very interesting to see if Bill Elliott and Chase Elliott were going to be able to come up to the front. Bill Elliott got up to, I think, about the 6th or 7th in heat number 2, and Chase Elliott got up to about 8th. Also, Bobby Labonte showed a lot of speed, and Tony Stewart, they were making their way up to the front as well. But coming out the final corner, Helio Castroneves would end up winning heat number 2 here in the SRX race at Nashville Fairgrounds. Because of that, they would go ahead and sort the field. You'd have Bill Elliott on the inside, Bobby Labonte on the outside to start, and Bill Elliott would take the lead early in the race. And Bill Elliott actually looked like he probably had the fastest car early. Chase Elliott kind of struggled early. He kind of put Castroneves up on the outside wall, but Castroneves, man, just started charging out the front. He got all the way up from about 5th up to 2nd. It looked like he was actually going to pass Billy for the lead, and they put on a really good back and forth, awesome battle for the race lead. But then around lap 25, they threw the first fun flag and the first caution of the event. We'll talk about fun flags later in the episode, but that was when the first fun flag will come out in the race, and we would see on the restart, Bill Elliott and Chase Elliott had the lead early, and Bill Elliott actually started really, really pulling away in the early stages of that event. But Chase Elliott, really, his car really started coming in, especially the longer they ran. His car was really good in the long run. And again, tire management was going to be a major key thing if you're going to win the race. So Chase Elliott was really starting to catch Billy, and he made a move to the inside. It actually looked like he was about to pass Billy eventually, but a caution would come out once again for the fun flag with around 20 laps to go in the event. We go back racing with around 20 laps to go, and the only major incident that really happened in the event ended up first of 2 major incidents that ended up basically taking place. Basically, there was a checkup on the restart going into turn number 2, and then Willie T. Reds basically spun out with around 20 to go. And then we go back racing, and we see Bill and Chase battle it out for a little bit, and then actually Bill Elliott on that restart as well, he basically lost it off the corner, overdrove the corner, and basically fell back. So it actually would come down to Tony Stewart, who we'll talk about a little bit later in the episode, and it would come out between those two for the overall victory. But then they decided to throw the caution with around 7 laps to go. Despite only running 10 laps, basically, they threw the caution. It's not an understanding of them throwing that. I guess they wanted all laps, basically green flag, but you could have honestly finished that race under the green flag. So I never really overall understand why they went ahead and threw the caution, considering they really did not need to throw that caution basically up to that point. I really never understood that. But we go back racing with 7 laps to go, and Chase Elliott actually was able to get the race lead. And then Paul Tracy decided to be Paul Tracy. Paul Tracy basically got into Marco Andretti. Marco Andretti, in my opinion, did nothing wrong in that situation. He basically pushed up and got into him and basically dumped him and turned him. And Paul Tracy, had his 15th incident of the season. Paul Tracy was basically a wreckaholic a lot of this SRX series. He was definitely the villain of the series, I'll give him that. But basically, Paul Tracy took out Marco Andretti, and Marco was definitely not happy, and understandably so. Marco really kind of was having an okay run, and Paul Tracy was just kind of be a wreckaholic. Then on a series restart, Chase Elliott was starting to pull away from Tony Stewart, and then basically Paul Tracy once again was trying to basically get into people and almost wreck Bobby Labonte, who had a really good night going up to that point. He was basically almost trying to wreck him. But then it would come down to see if Tony Stewart could have enough run to hold on to catch Chase Elliott for the victory. And it looked like Tony Stewart's car was starting to catch up, but Tony Stewart, unfortunately, with 2 to go, did not have anything for him, kind of overdrove it on the last lap. But then it looked like Tony was going to have a chance at Chase, but he really, unfortunately, did not have an opportunity to pass Chase. And coming out the final corner, Chase Elliott is able to hold on and win the first and only start in the SRX, and his only start in the SRX, and wins the race here at Nashville Fairgrounds. Now, let me say, did I expect Chase Elliott to honestly win the race? Yes. But did I expect Chase Elliott to have to earn it? No. Honestly, I thought Chase Elliott was going to have to they're going to have to throw a ton more fun flags than he did in this event. I thought that Chase Elliott was going to have probably the best car overall in this event. I don't think he had overall the best car in the event. I thought his father, Bill Elliott, for the majority of the event, had the best car overall. But again, tire management was going to be a key factor. And Bill Elliott's usually not running up in the front. So the fact that Bill Elliott was not used to being up front, I think overall did affect Bill Elliott long term. But it's great to see that the Elliott's were both really, really fast in the event. And Chase Elliott was able to pick up the victory, so it's great for him overall. So anyway, let's go through the race results of tonight's SRX event from Nashville Fairgrounds. So Chase Elliott wins the event. Tony Stewart finished his second. Tony Stewart also, by the way, has won the inaugural 2021 SRX Championship. Huge congratulations to Tony Stewart winning that. No one really cared about the championship, let's be honest. But the fact that Tony Stewart now is the official first ever SRX champion is really, really cool to see. I just want to give huge congratulations to Tony Stewart, my friend. How would it have been cool if he would have won not only the final event, but also won the championship on the same night? That would have been cool. He was able to actually clinch the championship during the final race, which was really, really cool to see for sure. It was great to see that Tony Stewart was able to win that. So huge congratulations, Tony. And I thought he was going to get chased at the end, but had nothing for him once they got to that point. Bill Elliott finishes third in tonight's SRX race. I thought Bill Elliott, to be perfectly honest with you, had the best car most of the event. He looked really fast, surprisingly, considering he struggled with many of these events with a lot of mechanical issues. But even when he had a good car that had mechanical problems, he wasn't really, really fast. So the fact that Bill Elliott had a ton of speed in tonight's event was really great to see. He finishes third in tonight's event. So good finish regardless for him. Bobby Labonte finished fourth. I thought Bobby Labonte was going to get run for the money tonight, but he ran really, really well. He's been definitely getting better as the events went on. Hope to see him back next year in the SRX because he put on a really good show this year, and he finished fourth in tonight's event. Paul Tracy, despite causing a lot of issues, he finishes fifth, but finished top 5. Not a bad run for Paul Tracy. Ernie Francis Jr. finished in 6th. Probably the worst showing I've really seen out of Ernie Francis Jr. He kind of struggled most of the entire event. I kind of expected him to run a little bit better, and I thought he was going to get more of a run to Tony Stewart for the championship, but he really never should have. But he finished 6th in tonight's race, even though we'll talk more about Paul Tracy later this week, but Paul Tracy finished 6th in the final event. Michael Waltrip finished 7th. Tony Kanaan finished 8th. Cashinez finished 9th. I think he used his tires up way too early because he was really, really up front early in the event. But unfortunately, he kind of used his tires up late in the event, and it kind of cost him overall. Haley Deegan finished 7th. I'll be honest, I expected Haley to run a lot better than she did, considering the last couple events she ran extremely well. So the fact that she kind of struggled, and I don't know if her car was bad or what was going on with her car, but she finished 10th in tonight's event. I expected a little bit more out of her in tonight's event, but it is what it is. She finished 10th. Mark Andretti finished 11th after the spin, and Willie T. Ribs finished last in tonight's event. So overall, let's go over tonight's race overall, and then we'll jump overall into the SRX. I will say that this race I thought was going to be similar to Lucas Oil, where I thought we were going to see a domination by one driver, and we weren't going to see much competition. But very surprisingly, I think tonight's race went really, really well. It was kind of a mixture of race number 1 and Lucas Oil. I thought it was very, very competitive. You had a lot of competition where Bill Elliott dominated early, but tire management came into factor, and I like that some of these short track races do come down to tire strategy and how well the tires work. And it really, really made the race extremely interesting. I thought that this race was really, really interesting and really, really good. And it's not a bad thing that your most popular NASCAR Cup Series driver went out and won the event. To me, that was really, really good to see. And Chase Elliott winning, it definitely really is going to make this event. And I wouldn't be surprised if this event did really, really well on the rating side as well. It was great to see Chase Elliott win. Overall, for tonight's event with the competition side of things, I'm going to give tonight's score of the SRX event overall a 9 out of 10. A near perfect event. Again, the only reason I was not a big fan of this was the fun flags. I thought the race is definitely entertaining for a majority event. I thought it was very, very good. I actually give tonight's score a 9.5. So overall, let's now go overall and talk about the whole SRX season as a whole. Now, I will say this. The whole SRX season, I thought, was really, really good. And I thought it was series, honestly. I was really, really, really worried about the SRX going into these events because really there was not that much preparation. But for a series that really didn't get a lot of hype and a lot of promotion, and there wasn't as much preparation as they honestly probably should have had for this. I have to say that they did an excellent job on that front, and there's a lot of things that I really enjoyed. It was just about the racing. It wasn't all, well, there was definitely gimmicks in this, of course, we'll talk about that, but it was more about the racing. You have to focus on a championship battle like NASCAR, IndyCar, or F1. No, you were focused on the racing overall, and I think the racing mattered a lot more, and I think the short track racing itself was really, really good. Now, what would I definitely change overall for the SRX going into next year? Number one, fun flags need to go. I am not a fan of the fun flags in all honesty. I think the fun flags are my only really major gripe of this. I think the fun flags, again, I know that this series is supposed to be entertainment purposes, and it's supposed to bunch up the field once again. But I'm not a big fan of the fun flags. It just feels like those competition cautions in NASCAR and those stage cautions. And honestly, it feels like those truck cautions they had in 2016, the caution clock cautions. And to me, the fun flag or the lap limit really doesn't need to be a thing. It kind of was fiddle with tonight, considering with 7 to go, they decided to throw the caution. It's pretty obvious they were trying to get a short finish and trying to make finish better than it was, even though despite Tony Stewart was looking to maybe pass Chase Elliott, he really never got that opportunity. But to me, that's one thing I would fix. The second thing I absolutely would fix is bringing more cars into the field next year. I think instead of only having 12 cars next year, I think you increase the field size from about 12 up to 16 or 18 cars. I think the more cars you overall have in the field, I think you'll have you have more lap traffic, which will come into play, especially if you have some of these guys that are running really slow cars. You'll have lap traffic come into play. And I think lap traffic is one thing that makes short track racing a lot more fun, in my opinion, at points. I think lap traffic is very interesting to watch. And to me, I think that's one thing. If you increase the field size, bring some current Cup Series drivers in the field, or other really good drivers in the field, I think that it is going to bring more intrigue into these races. That's two things I really would change. But I have to say, my score for the whole SRX for the first season, I'm going to give this an 8.5 out of 10. I'm giving it a really high score. Actually, I'm giving this a 9 out of 10. I think that this series for the first season, the expectation is not as high as some people gave it. I will say that this was a really good first season, and I'm really excited about the future of the SRX. Oh, there's one more thing I definitely would like to see. Maybe a few more races next year. I think the season may be longer, maybe up to 8, maybe between 10 races. I'm not sure, but I thought the first SRX season was really good. I just think there's a few changes that they need to do to make, and I think that it will make the SRX a lot better than it was. But I still enjoyed the first season of SRX, and once again, congratulations to Tony Stewart on winning his first ever SRX championship. So, anyway, that's for today's SRX race review from Nashville Fairgrounds. Well, thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel to notification to be notified when a video does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Support page as well. Links description below for that. And comment your thoughts on today's video. What are your thoughts about today's race at Nashville Fairgrounds? Let me know in the comments below. Let me know your score in the comments below. And congratulate Chase Elliott on winning the Nashville Fairgrounds race for the SRX. Anyway, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's video. And I'll see you guys next time for some more great and awesome SRX and NASCAR content. Take care, everybody.